Welcome to the True Grime Stories podcast, where in every episode, we'll unravel a new mystery of cleaning business transformation from a grimy mess to a great success. Join me, your host, Jeannie Henderson, as together we dig up cleaning business secrets that you've been dying to know. Welcome, everybody. I'm your host, Jeannie Henderson, and I'm so glad you're here for our True Grime story today. You're going to love our guest, who is an amazing leader in the cleaning business industry. And I want to introduce you to Donny Minchillo. He is the owner of Joy of Cleaning in St. Petersburg, Florida. Isn't that an amazing business name? And he actually created his business using a live case study, understanding the innovation for the home service industry. So, he put a lot of thought and intention into this business. He has an amazing story, and he's a multi-business owner and has been an entrepreneur pretty much all of his adult life. He came to the U.S. from Sao Paulo, Brazil, back in 1982. I didn't think you were old enough for that, Donny, but
I was
you look
born
great.
in 82.
Oh, okay.
I was born in 82.
It started in 82. Okay. I was gonna say that didn't seem right. Okay.
Not-
So but then came to the US as a 16-year-old. That makes a lot more sense to me. And he built his life here in the United States, but it wasn't always easy. And so he started his entrepreneurial journey at 19, selling products on eBay. He now, in addition to his home cleaning business, also has an e-commerce business called Pineapple Development. And he has worked with many mentors and continues to learn and grow his business. So I can't wait to dig into Donny's True Grime story here today. So welcome, Donny. Thanks for being on our show.
Thanks so much for having me. Excited to share.
Yeah, so excited to hear it. So you came from Brazil all those years ago, and you started your eBay business. How long did you do that?
2 to 3 years, 4 years, maybe 4 years. At that time, I didn't really know how to run businesses, so I made some terrible mistakes that ended up causing it to shut down. So lots of lessons learned back then, but it was a great experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you've had lots of businesses, some good, some, great experience, some not so great experiences. And I think that's part of the entrepreneurial journey. We tend to, try to do it ourselves for a lot of, especially in the beginning, trying to learn new things. So how long have you had Joy of Cleaning in business?
Since 2019.
2019. And since 2019, what's your growth looked like?
Well, if I may share the story on how it all started.
Yes.
My wife and I, we used to live in Costa Rica, and we decided to move back to the States.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
so we decided to come to St. Pete. There's another story there, but maybe we can chat a little bit later about that. The previous owner had a Brazilian couple that was cleaning their house. So she spoke very highly of this couple and said, "Hey, you should speak with them. They're great. They're amazing people. Maybe you should hire them." So I decided, yeah, let's talk to them. Sat down with them, amazing people, decided to hire them, and they started cleaning our house. After a few months or maybe a year, they came to us and said, "Hey, we have good news and bad news." I said, "Okay, what's the bad news?" She said, or they said, "We're moving. We're not going to be here in Florida any longer. We're not going to be able to clean your house anymore." I was like, "Okay, what's the good news?" She said, "Well, we already have someone else that can come in. She's already familiar with her clients, so you don't have to worry about looking for another company." So making a very, very long story short, knowing myself and at that time wanting to own more businesses, I started asking some questions: how they run the business, how much money they're bringing, how many clients they have. I decided to make him an offer and acquire the 24 or 27 recurring clients they had. And I decided that I was going to just do everything else. So I hired a couple of girls and acquired these 24, 27 recurring clients. And fast forward to today, we have almost 300 recurring clients with 14 or 15 cleaning technicians. And we can talk about run rate if you like.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a great story. And I my business started in a similar way. I bought a business from the people who used to clean my house too.
Oh, there
So,
you go.
yeah, and we started with 54 clients back then. So, yeah, I can relate to that a little bit. But that is often we are often inspired to start a business when we see someone else doing it. I've talked to several cleaning business owners who started their cleaning business either because they didn't love their cleaning service, or their cleaning person quit, and they, instead of replacing them, they just started their own business. So that's really cool that you were able to start that way, and have built your business now to the point where you've got this great business going. And would you share your like annual revenue or run
Sure.
rate?
Yeah. Currently, we are at about 1.2 million run rate. We had a stagnant year last year. There was a lot of lessons learned,
Yeah.
but super excited where we are today. And because of the lessons that we learned last year, I think we're gonna get to 1.5. I mean, we'll see. Hopefully, 2 million by the end of the year run rate.
Yeah, great. Well, that's amazing. I mean, you have gone from, starting with those 24 clients 6 years ago to now being in the top 1 to 2% of the entire cleaning industry. So congratulations to you and your wife and your team. That's amazing. And a lot of people don't realize that they could ever do that. And so today we want to kind of dig in a little bit into some of the things that you've had to overcome. And we like to talk about that as being one of your grime scenes. And usually entrepreneurs, you talked about even in your eBay business that you learned some painful lessons, right? But oftentimes these lessons are the things that kind of catapult us forward, like you talked about from last year. Um, Sometimes you have to experience those things to figure out how to move forward. So when we talk about a grime scene, what's something that pops into your mind, a time when you just had to figure it out, and get past it? What was an issue you were dealing with, and then you found a solution to get past it, and it's helped you get to where you are today?
Well, a couple of things, and not to bring up CBF, but bringing up CBF because I think
Mhm.
CBF is played a huge role in our growth. But I feel that sometimes we, as entrepreneurs, we can be stubborn and we can be in our own heads and we can think that we have all the answers.
Mhm.
And one particular moment that comes to my mind is when I had just started CBF, and I had tried a lot of different things. And one thing that my coach said at the time was overhire. And I never really understood why to do that, to always have
Mhm.
availability in our schedule. And then the moment that I decided, which was fairly quickly, because I really wanted to grow, and I really understood that if I'm going to be part of this program or any other program, I better listen to the people that have done it. So I decided to take action right away and then listen to what he had to say at the time. And the moment that I started hiring a little bit more aggressively, all of the sudden revenue started going up, going up.
Mhm.
And for me, the idea of being overstaffed, it was scary at times, because for me, it was like, I'm making a commitment to these people that I'm going to give them work. What if I don't have enough, right?
Right.
What if,
Yeah.
am I going to, yeah. So the
It
moment I
is
did,
scary, and I think that's why most people don't do it,
yep. So when
right?
I did it, it was
Mhm.
an immediate response to the question that I had, and it was a confirmation that if you do it, you allow yourself to grow. So I think overstaffing or overhiring is extremely, extremely important, at least in this business.
Yeah, so when our growth is limited, it's usually one of two things. It's either not having enough people or not having enough clients. But if you don't have enough people on your team, you will never be able to grow. You can always get more clients, but it's harder to get those team members because they're the ones that are the revenue generators in your business. They bring in
Hmm.
anywhere from, if you're pricing right, they're bringing in anywhere from $70 to $120,000 a year, depending on where you're located and things
Yeah.
like that. And I think a lot of people don't realize that overhiring is actually good for everybody. Everybody's so afraid of what's going to happen if I have too many people and they don't have enough work. So, how did you deal with that fear and that actual issue of, I've got people on my schedule or I've got people waiting to start working for us, but I don't have work for them yet? How did you deal with that?
Honestly, I just surrendered to the idea and decided I'm just going to follow what
I
he's
love
telling me
that
to
word.
do.
Let it happen.
I just said, you know what, I'm going to do it and hope it for the best. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, I don't know. I learned something from it, and I did. I'm glad that I did surrender, and I did what he asked me to do at the time,
Mhm.
and it worked out just fine.
Yeah. And you said something else earlier that kind of ties into this, how as entrepreneurs, we often think we have all the answers. And we, for lack of a better term, we kind of poo poo other people's ideas sometimes, like, oh, that won't work. Or I've tried that once and it didn't work. And, you know, we talk ourselves into it because it's a scary thing to do, like overhiring. But I love it that your coach at the time guided you to that and gave you the confidence to try it. You listened that one time and how it made a difference. It just goes to show that, listening to other people's ideas can really make a difference, especially if that's a person who's several steps ahead of you, which I'm sure your coach was at the time.
Yeah, I cannot tell you how many entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, I have talked to that have decided to just listen to themselves instead of listening to people that have done it and have gone through it and are resistant to the idea of being part of a mastermind or some sort of group of people that have done it or coaching program. They continue, and I'm talking very close friends of mine, they continue to do the same things over and over again, expecting a different result. And I cannot stress enough that you will speed up the process of achieving your goals if you have people that can help you through it that have already done it. The
Mm-hmm.
most successful people, right, in the world have coaches.
Yeah.
Tony
All
Robbins has a
right.
coach.
Yeah. I mean, we all kind of need someone to be looking at what we're doing from the outside,
Yes,
because we're just so caught up in the grind. We can't see the mistakes we're making or
yes.
that repetitive action that we're taking that's actually holding us back. And I know it's hard, isn't it, to like be around people that they could get help, but they're resistant to it. And I don't know, it's like the phrase is, your success is the result of the room that you are in or the people that you hang around with.
Hmm.
And if you aren't hanging around with other successful people, uh, or if you're the most successful people or most successful person in the group that you're with, you're probably not going to grow.
You're in the wrong room.
In the
You're in the
wrong
wrong room.
room. I mean, you
Yeah,
might be helping them grow to where you are, but you're
right.
not going to grow beyond that. I love being around people who have bigger businesses and different ideas because
Yes.
yeah, it just helps us all grow. Yeah, and being open to that. So I would like to dig a little deeper into being overhired and some of the strategies for like, what do you do with those people? Because I think that's one area that kind of can help dispel the fear that people have of that. You might have a bench of people waiting to come onto your team, or then you might have one or two extra staff people who don't have full schedules. So how do you deal with that in scheduling?
Well, I think that there are multiple things that you can do because I just to go back to hiring and how difficult it is in this industry to find people, right? And I'm going through this right now. I am trying so hard to be overstaffed, and it's been difficult to get people to just show up to an interview, right? But if you are able to be overstaffed, I'm so happy for you. You don't have to worry
Right.
because you can always gift a cleaning to a neighbor. You can gift a cleaning to cleaning for a reason patients, right? You can always
Mhm.
utilize free cleaning to create partnerships with other businesses. You can give free cleaning to what we call it now. We created a whole program to our ambassadors or Instagram influencers. You can give these things or exchange services in order to get more leads, and the leads will come, right? So I think the fear
And
of
the
being
leads come
overstaffed.
from that work that you're doing, right? So when you
Exactly.
give out that free work, those
Absolutely.
people start talking about you, and
Yes.
it helps to promote your business. I love that. Oh my gosh. And I'm sure a lot of people are just going, oh, wow, I never thought of that. That's such a great idea. So thanks for sharing
Hope
that.
so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there are many ways that you can fill their schedule. It's not something that you should be worried about. I think being worried about being overstaffed and hiring the right people, right? Not just anybody, but if you can hire people, A players, as Debbie would say,
Hmm.
is key to success and growth.
Yeah. And also, do you find that, you know, it's an opportunity to kind of hone your team as well? Like often many of us have people on our team who maybe shouldn't be on our team, you know,
100%. I think,
and
yes.
yeah.
Being
And
overstepped allows you to pick, right? To be able to get rid of the bottom 10%, because we all have some people at some point that instead of helping the team or being a good influence, they're being a bad influence. Hopefully not, but I've been through it. I've had people, and at times I had to keep them because I couldn't get rid of them. So I
Mhm.
think that that's another benefit of being overstaffed, is that you can be a little bit more selective on who you want on your team.
Yeah, and you can also select like who gets the cleanings, right? You
Yes.
know, if you I know my team struggles with this sometimes. If we have someone on the team that's not great, I'm always like hire more and start moving stuff off their schedule. Reduce their schedule if they, until and have a talk with them, and if they can't move up, then they move out, but now you have the capacity to handle that. Um, so yeah, this is a strategy that so many people miss in that ability to grow. And they look at people, business owners like you, and they're like, how does someone ever get to that level where Donnie is? And this is one of those really key strategies that I think so many people are, number one, like you said, afraid to do it. And then number two, they just don't do it because of that. And without having a team, you can't do anything else. So that's so great. Well, I love what you shared so far. And I'd like to take a little break. You mentioned CBF. And so want to let people know a little bit more about that. So let's take a break and hear this message from Cleaning Business Fundamentals. And we'll come right back and learn more from Donnie. Is your cleaning business a grime story? There's no need to stay stuck in the muck because you're not alone. With over 500 active members and more than 500 graduates of our Cleaning Business Fundamentals program, CBF is the #1 cleaning business academy in the world and has created more mop-free millionaires than any program in the industry. Learn more and let CBF take your residential cleaning business from a grime story to a gleaming success. Well, we're back with Donny Minchillo. Did I say it right?
You
Minchillo?
did?
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Today. And he is the owner of Joy of Cleaning in St. Pete, Florida. Donnie has shared a great strategy of overhiring to grow your business. And so I want to dig a little bit deeper into that. But when I just saw that photograph, if you're watching the video version of this podcast, there's a photograph of people in green jackets. And we do that in Cleaning Business Fundamentals. We give out green jackets when people reach the $1 million mark in their business. And I really remember the day that you received your green jacket. It was so emotional. You brought your little one up on stage. I know for Debbie, that was too. So family is a big part of your business, right?
Huge. I mean, it's very difficult to go to work every day with the things that we have to do every day without a purpose. And I think
Mhm.
that family is a huge part of it, on top of the goals that we have, right? But I think family, the things that you want to do for them, provide for them, allow experiences that you never had. So it's a huge, huge driver for me. And it definitely helps me wake up at 4:30 in the morning every day.
Another success strategy right there. Write it down. Get up early.
Yeah.
That's it's a big part of it too, and it does keep remembering our why. Keeps us moving forward, and it's such an important piece. So diving back into the overhiring aspect, once you mentioned that you fill their schedules with free cleanings, that the leads will come, that you use that opportunity to kind of trim your team if it needs it. So at what point did you figure this out? Where were you at in your business? How many years in?
It was fairly early on. It was as soon as I joined CBF, and I believe it was maybe the second or third coaching call that I had.
Oh,
And I
wow.
decided to just take action. Obviously, nothing happens overnight. So over a period of time, or maybe over
Mhm.
the, let's say, 6 months, as I started overhiring, I started seeing that more cleanings were being added to the schedule and more cleaning. So I quickly noticed that I had made the right decision of
Mhm.
doing it, even with all the fear. It was worth it, and it did help a lot.
Yeah. Well, doing it scared is something that we need to do as entrepreneurs. I mean, just starting a business is a huge, scary thing all by itself. And then the other thing that you mentioned was you just took action. And I love that because, speed is so important, especially today with how quickly everything is changing. And a lot of times people hear a great idea and they sit on it and they think about it and they dwell on it. And then I think their fear becomes greater, as they think about it more. A lot of people wait. And was it a little bit messy at first when you did that?
Of course, you never know everything when you first start, right? Just you
Mhm.
do what you can. But I'm glad. And to your point, if I may, without taking action, nothing happens. And I would like to re-emphasize that, because without taking action, nothing happens. If you keep the idea in your head, or somebody shares something with you and nothing gets done, there will be no results. So if I were to give any advice, unsolicited advice,
No, I was going to
in
ask you for
order,
your advice. So this is great.
yeah, I mean, if you want to do anything, right, build anything or an idea to start a business or to move to a different country or whatever it may be, start taking action. If you take that first step, the first step is the hardest, is
Mhm.
the hardest. If you take that first one, the second is a little bit less hard, and then the third one, and then all of a sudden, no, the train's already moving. So taking action is number one, in my opinion.
Yeah, and just watching you over the last few years that I've known you is that is one of your like things that you're a doer, you take
Mhm.
action. And I think if we look at anybody who has any level of success in their industry, that's one of the things that they're doing. And it may not always be visible to people because as entrepreneurs, we do a lot of things, alone by ourselves in private. We're not out there talking about it. And people sometimes they look at successful business owners and they think, oh, I could never do that. They're smarter than I am. They're luckier than I am. But you started with no experience and really not a lot. I mean, your family came here with very little or next to nothing, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. My family is the typical immigrant story, where my dad moved to the U.S. first,
Mhm.
trying to help us out back in Brazil, send money to the family. And then 2 years later, I flew in by myself from Brazil to the US to live with my dad and a bunch of other guys and work with him
Mhm.
painting houses.
Oh,
And
that's right. You
then,
were painting. I remember that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then we saved enough money to then bring my mom and my younger brother. So, and then we moved into a house, and then we were finally together after 2.5 or 3 years of my
Mhm.
dad coming first.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And, so you weren't, I mean, yes, your dad was a go-getter. He, had his painting business, but you didn't come from this long line of entrepreneurial success or anything to set you up, right?
No, it wasn't even his business. He just worked for a guy.
Oh, he was working for someone else.
he,
Yeah.
he was just like, yeah, yeah. No, this
So are,
was,
are you the first entrepreneur in your business or in your family?
yes, yes, yes,
Oh, see, that's so
yes.
great.
Yeah. You mentioned something early on. Oh, yes, you mentioned about a lot of times people paint a picture of someone else when they see either success or whatever it may be, right? People don't see what goes behind the scenes, right? To waking up at 4 o'clock to 4:30, right? People don't see any of that. So to tie the 2 points together of taking action, and being able to accomplish things and people not seeing you, right? Or like it's so important for people to realize, or when they see somebody, hopefully they see it as an inspiration, and without taking action, it's impossible to go anywhere. I kind of lost my train of thought there.
Yeah, no, I get where you're going with that. I think there's one thing that I would love to learn, and I know our audience would love to learn, because I'm a big believer in how you start your day is how your day will go, right? That if you don't start your day strong, the rest of the day is kind of lost or shot.
Yeah. And if you wake up early, right? It's like, for me, I started doing this, waking up at 4:30, being at the office around 5:30. Everything is quiet. My office is at a co-working space, so there's many offices here. There's a few hundred people in the building. There's no one here. Sometimes there's one person, and because it's so quiet, it's dark, I get so much work done from 5:30, 6 o'clock, depending on the day that I get here, until 9, that my day already feel accomplished in a way. And on top of that, I get to go back home and have breakfast with my wife and my daughter for an hour or two. And then I go back to the office.
That so much.
So there are multiple benefits of waking up early, getting things done, and allowing yourself to have some time during the day to spend some time for yourself, for your family, and still get a lot done.
I think that there's so much in there that people can learn from, starting before everyone else, getting time that's quiet where you can get things done, doing the work in your most productive part of your day, and then allowing yourself a break to do the thing that you love to do, and that's spending time with your family and being a part of their lives. I think so many times entrepreneurs think the only way I'm going to get there is if I just grind every single day through the entire day. And if we don't do that self-care piece and family care piece, that part of our life can fall apart while our business is growing. And I'm seeing that many times where people become so married to their business that their marriage and their family falls apart.
I think that, to your point, like taking care of ourselves, for me, is going to the gym. I'm a CrossFit guy every day, 4:30
You throw those
p.m.
tires and
I do.
I love that.
Climb the ropes.
Rope things. I love that stuff.
I always make time, because there are multiple benefits, right? Not just the health benefits, but the mental. For me, is the mental benefit that it has to allow myself to completely disconnect. And on top of, exercise, I think everybody knows, pushing yourself to doing something so difficult, right? That being able to push through the physical pain, it will allow you or help you get through the mental pain that you go through being an entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's so important to take care of yourself physically, mentally, all together, because if you're not doing well, your business can't do well. You can't help others if you can't take care of yourself. So great inspiration. You're a great example to our cleaning business community of, starting from, not having a business to building a great business in a short time, only 6 years, to where you are today, and continuing to grow. So what's the future of Joy of Cleaning look like? What are your growth plans? I know we talked a little bit about that before we started today.
Yeah, I would love Joy of Cleaning to get to 5 million, 10 million, 50 million, and there are multiple ways to getting there. Acquisitions, as we were briefly talking a little bit earlier, acquiring other cleaning businesses, offering a couple of different services as well, maybe carpet cleaning or window cleaning, whatever it may be, So I think that I would love Joy of Cleaning to be a national brand, recognizable brand. We are already very proud to say that we have the most Google reviews in this area. No other cleaning business, even all the franchises or people that have been in business for 20 years, 20 plus years, don't have as many Google reviews as us.
Way to go. How many reviews do you have?
650
Woo!
something, or almost
Holy
700.
smokes. That is
Yeah.
awesome. That
Five
is so
star,
great.
50, not 4.9, 50.
Holy smokes. Wow. That
Yeah,
is,
a lot,
that's another podcast. We need to start. That's a whole other
a
podcast.
lot,
But
a lot of
yeah,
work, a lot of work.
it's a lot of work, but it's so valuable to your growth and it's setting you up
Yes.
for that success. And
Yeah.
we've talked about acquisition too. And there are a lot of cleaning businesses out there who they've been doing it for years, um, and I want to encourage people if you're listening to this and you are ever thinking of retiring or getting out of business, don't just close your doors. I see a lot of people do that. And
Yeah.
number one, it's a disservice to your team and your customers to just close the doors, right?
Yes.
When you could actually find a new home for them. And I recently had that experience acquiring a business and it was great. I was able to absorb their team and all of their clients and no disruption of service, no disruption of work for all of those people. So if you've built something and you're proud of it, but you're thinking of, well, it's time for me to move on to something else or I'm going to retire, it's really a great opportunity to just reach out to a business near you. All you have to do is look at Google reviews to find the ones who are successful, right? And reach out to them and see if they're interested because it's just part of taking care of what you've built and not letting it just disappear, right?
It's
It
a
can
win-win for everybody.
it is. It really, really is. It's been a great experience for us. So good. Well, I am going to enjoy watching your rise over the next several years. I think you've built a beautiful brand and a great business. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and
If I
thank
may add
you.
one more thing, because I
Of
think that
course.
other business owners can benefit from this. You had mentioned, well, we talked about taking action, but you
Hmm.
also mentioned about speed
Yeah.
and how not just taking action, but not waiting until tomorrow or next week or whatever long to do something that you've been thinking about doing. So AI is here, right?
Holy cow.
And
Yes,
it
it is.
can maybe another podcast also, but
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to make sure that I get this in because we have been super active with AI for close to a year now. The entire team, about 6 months, but I've been
Mhm.
around AI, learning about AI for a year and a half now. And I cannot stress enough how much you can get done and how quickly you can get things done. And if I may just give one example that I think everybody should try because it has helped us so much in getting so many leads.
I can't
So
wait to hear it.
we we're a fairly small company, right? Like for some it may be a big company,
Mhm.
over $1 million, right? But
Mhm.
we are getting close to 300 leads a month. A small portion of it is from Google Ads, and I'm talking maybe 50 or so, 50, 60, depending on the month. But the vast majority is organically. And some of it, there's two main sources of these leads. One of them being this ambassador program, which I have talked in the past at
Mhm.
CBF, which is partnering with Instagram influencers that are very local. You need to make sure that the
Mhm.
following is local in order for you to exchange services. Give them a
Mhm.
free cleaning, overstaffed, free cleaning, get a bunch of leads from them. But the other way is also SEO. SEO is still so important. So we utilize AI in multiple ways, but one way that we do it is to create one blog a day. So we are able to create 30 SEO optimized with specific keywords. It took a little bit of work to find out what are the keywords that we want to,
Mhm.
focus on. But once we did, and once we created this structure of main post, other supporting posts around it, right, to create the main keywords,
Mhm.
sub keywords. In about a day, my marketing guy, Darren, shout out to Darren, he's able to
Darren.
create close to 30 posts, 20 plus posts in less than 8 hours, and I think 4 to 6 hours for the entire month. And that it has been contributing to getting so many free leads, right? Organic leads that are
Mhm.
looking for things. And all of a sudden they're just at our website filling out a request form. So I would highly recommend using AI for that, but also using AI for everything else. How to communicate with a difficult employee, or how
Yeah.
to reply to a message from a customer, right? How to create a sales pitch, everything. You can do everything. Create social media posts.
Yeah, it is. It is so powerful. Wow. One thing, Donnie, that I really enjoy about you is your generosity into the industry, and so many people don't realize that we are not competing with each other. There is plenty of business for all of us that,
Plenty.
if we help each other, we lift each other as we climb. And we talk about that all the time in our coaching program. But to thank you so much for sharing that really powerful piece of information. You shared so much today. And I encourage people to go back and listen to this one a few times with a notepad, because there is so much gold in this short interview today. But I want to thank you for really being a part of the industry and then helping others grow in that way. I know that's just so inspiring. I'm going to have my team listen to this one. So pretty excited to have them do that. And like I said, I can't wait to watch you grow and to just continue to cheer you on. And we're going to have you back and talk about some more of these in detail, but you are a great inspiration. So thank you
Definitely.
so much, Donny.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And thank you to our audience here. Without you, True Grime Stories wouldn't continue. And I hear all the time how people are able to immediately take action, as Donny says, and make change in their business from what they learn in this story. So if you want to help continue to grow True Grime Stories, be sure and subscribe, download this, and share it with your friends. And if you want to know more about True Grime Stories, you can reach out to me. My link is in the show notes. And also you can follow Donny through, we'll include a link to his business in the show notes as well. So come back and see us again for the next episode of True Grime Stories. Bye, everyone. That's a wrap on today's True Grime Stories. Thanks for joining us in uncovering the secrets of cleaning business success. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and download, and check out our show notes for links and info from today's episode, and to learn more about our sponsor, Cleaning Business Fundamentals. Join us next time as we solve another True Grime story.